2024 was another disappointing year for Bungie, with more layoffs, Sony seemingly taking more control, and the people running Bungie taking too many risks. Coupled with recent events and news coming out about Destiny 2 player numbers and a former employee suing them, are Bungie in a bit of trouble? It's a question that has been asked before, but this time it seems to hit a little differently. Happy New Year, everyone. I hope you had a good one. If gaming news and updates are your thing, subscribe to the channel and don't forget to like the video. It helps us out. This isn't a video I've enjoyed making because I love Destiny and I have sunk many hours in over the years and made some good friends. Plus I've had some amazing moments as well playing the game, just like most of the players. But I do feel Destiny and Bungie has changed. The feel around the game is just different after the final shape dropped, which was an amazing expansion. Bungie absolutely hit the ball out of the park when it came to finalising the end of the Light and Dark saga. But recently, the dwindling Destiny 2 player numbers have hit the headlines because they were extremely low for the popular live service game. But this has been a trend for a little while now, especially when there's downtimes within the content. If there's a story beat that's come to an end, there's not much to grind for. All you're really going to get is your really hardcore players. But I have to say, they haven't ever been this low, and this is an all-time low. If we look over on Steam, back in December, they were really low, with players currently sat at 16,700 and a 24-hour peak of just 19,500. To put this into perspective, when the final shape dropped, the player count on Steam was over 310,000 players strong. Now, these numbers are not terrible, but for Destiny, it isn't a good look. When the final shape dropped and the player base was kept well fed for a little while, Bungie were getting ready for episodes, which are a replacement for seasons, which meant a new way the story will be told with its story content and some rewards, which are mainly reskinned weapons, although there are some new perks and the artifact, which adds seasonal mods, and a new activity which was called Onslaught, which I have to add, I did quite enjoy for a little while. The issue with episodes though, in my opinion, is we defeated the Witness in the final shape, which I have to say was a great ending to the 10-year saga, and after that anything Bungie put out would be nowhere near the climax of what we played in the final shape. The story carries on with little to no consequence, and the playlists are the same along with the activities. These little story beats and the stale gameplay loop makes it hard for players to stick around. Episodes were meant to be different from seasons, but they are not. We still have a free player activity, a season pass, and story beats which are delivered via cutscenes more than unique missions. It is a rebrand when what we needed was a reset. Bungie are working on some new expansions though, which they have codenamed Frontiers, and back in September the dev team showed us this graphic. So we've got the codename Frontiers at the top there, and we've got two expansions, one for summer 2025 and the other for winter 2025, with the codenames Apollo and Behemoth. And underneath that we've got the seasons. The ones for summer and fall, we've got codename Arsenal and Surge. We don't have any for the one for winter and spring 2026 yet. But to the left, the expansion, we get new stories, new locations, missions, weapons, gear, new raids and dungeons. Seasonal update is new and repriced activities, new gear and artifact mods, modifiers and challenges, new sandbox meta and new events. Reward pass, exotic weapon, ornament, legendary weapon and armor ornaments, gear upgrade resources, cosmetics and more. Now the Destiny player in me is looking forward to this, but what I've just read out there on the left is pretty much more of the same. With Bungie saying they're opening up a new and weird and exciting door for Destiny, it would be hard for some players to not get hyped, but I think it will just be more Destiny. A new raid is always welcome as Bungie creates epic raids and dungeons, but I feel the game does need a hard reset, and personally, I also think Sony probably realises that too. The issue with Destiny 2 is that the game will always struggle to entice new players as well. The onboarding process is fucking shocking, and that is being kind. Players will be slapped in the face with various currencies, materials and subclasses, along with a story that doesn't have the best in-game lore. It's an extremely hard maze to find your way out of and pushes potential players away. A while ago, you would have had to spend way over £100 to play through the story because it was locked behind DLCs, but Bungie have condensed this into a legacy collection which includes Lightfall, The Witch Queen, Beyond Light and Shadowkeep, also Forsaken and the 30th anniversary, which is currently on sale for £8, which is great. But still, this is a huge ask for new players because the time commitment is big and understanding the story requires new players to search outside of the game. And for an always online game like Destiny, fresh players are needed to keep the ecosystem fresh and for the game to make money. Bungie, who are a big studio with over 800 staff, rely solely on Destiny, and that creates a lot of pressure. Marathon isn't going to get anywhere near the revenue stream Bungie will need. Back in July, Bungie laid off 220 employees, roughly 70% of their workforce, and another 155 employees were reassigned to PlayStation Studios. This was part of a big restructure where Sony wanted more integration, something Bungie was so adamant wouldn't happen. The layoffs were, of course, necessary, Pete Parsons' words, not mine, to refocus the business with more realistic goals because Pete and his fellow directors couldn't forecast industry shifts and economic conditions. Of course, he didn't lose out on anything, just the 220 poor employees, but don't worry, he still had his car collection, which he reportedly spent $2.5 million on. Player sentiment was at an all-time low, and in my opinion, it isn't much better now, with a lack of trust in Bungie to steer Destiny 2 onto fresh, new, and better things. Sony will no doubt chew up more of Bungie. They spent a hefty $3 billion acquiring Bungie, with the Destiny franchise being the main attraction. In December, it came out that Chris Barrett, the former Destiny 2 and Marathon director, was suing Bungie for a whopping $200 million over wrongful dismissal. You see, up until 2024, Chris was the director of Marathon, but got replaced by former Valorant game director Joe Ziegler, with Barrett reportedly moving back over to Destiny 2 as executive creative director. But Jason Schreier of Bloomberg broke the news that he'd in fact been fired for misconduct because multiple people filed complaints. After an investigation, it was found that he had called lower-ranking female employees attractive, asked them to play truth or dare, and talked about his wealth and power within Bungie, apparently suggesting that he could help their careers at the company. Barrett, of course, denied these allegations, stating, "I feel that I have always conducted myself with integrity and been respectful and supportive of my colleagues, many of whom I consider my closest friends." He said in a statement, "I never understood my communications to be unwanted, and I would have never thought they could possibly have made anyone feel uncomfortable. If anyone ever felt that way about their interaction with me, I'm truly sorry." And after going quiet in December, he released this over on X. "The past 9 months following my departure from Bungie have been very difficult and painful for me, as I've had to endure rampant speculation, unfounded attacks on my reputation, and innuendo about what happened behind the scenes to cause me to be fired after 25 years of loyal service. I want to thank everyone who has been there for me." He finishes it off with, "I am confident that the facts are on my side and look forward to clearing my name through the legal process. Because this is a pending legal matter, there is nothing else I can say about it at this time." The suit claims the company deliberately destroyed Barrett's reputation by falsely and publicly insinuating they had investigated Barrett and found he had engaged in sexual misconduct. Defendants did not care that none of it was true. They had blatant motivations for their brazen scheme. The suit also alleges that the firing was supposed to shift blame for and deflect attention away from their massive business failures. And to achieve those corporate objectives, they were willing to sacrifice Barrett. Quite a strong statement there, to be honest. When Sony chose to go ahead with the acquisition of Bungie, the lawsuit alleged in January 2022, Barrett signed an agreement that would have paid him a whopping $45 million. On January 31st, 2022, Sony announced the acquisition of $3.6 billion. The deal closed on July 5th of 2022. Barrett got a $1.8 million payout, but was due $45.6 million. This, coupled with all the issues Destiny 2 has, is not ideal for Bungie. With leadership issues and an unhappy workforce, it's hard to see a positive future for Destiny 2. Sony will no doubt want Destiny 3, and I think a lot of fans would, myself included. Something fresh in another universe or timeline with updated systems and loot, plus new activities, would get players hyped again and bring in more new players. I will always want Destiny to succeed and innovate within its genre, because I've spent the best part of 10 years playing the game. But if Bungie doesn't pivot or Sony does not force them, I feel we could just see Destiny 2 and Bungie fizzle out. But guys, that is the end of the video. If you're still here, thank you for watching and staying till the end. As always, if you've enjoyed the video, please hit the like button. And if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe for everything gaming. But as always, guys, until next time, I'll see you on the next video.